Now, while the numbers of protesters in Nairobi County dwindled in today's protests compared to the first 2 weeks, the protests did not happen without their fair share of spectacles, from criminal elements embedding themselves in today's protests to various melees taking place across the central business district, Mlolongo and Wayakiwe. Gina Kiori breaks down how the protest featured within Nairobi. Here now is that report.
The agenda of Tuesday's protest was evidently a mixed bag. While some were here to protest the high cost of living, another group made their way to the CBD carrying caskets in honor of those that died in the past 2 weeks as a result of the protests. However, in contrast to the order by the president, stating that as long as protesters are peaceful, force would not be used, police officers lobbed tear gas at this group of protesters who are chanting and waving the Kenyan flag.
Niko hapa kwa sababu ya democratic right yangu. Ruto must go home.
Arrests also featured as the day progressed. However, even in the midst of the melee, some preferred to sit down, take a break, and read the news of the day right in the middle of the street. At Wayakiwe, this bird's eye view shows a stretch devoid of the usual traffic of vehicles and people on Tuesday morning, a clear indication of an unusual day ahead. A number of goons here began blocking paths with stones and lighting up small fires, even going as far as stoning buses and other road users who crossed this path. After this back and forth, the presence of the police began to increase, with tear gas renting the air, which police officers were forced to use after stones were thrown directly at them from those on higher ground, posing a danger to their safety. At some point, police officers were increasingly being boxed in by a wave of protesters, forcing them to push back as goons took advantage to attempt to raid Quickmark supermarket. Quick reinforcements from a team led by Nairobi Regional Commander Adamson Bungay, however, kept the goons at bay, which led to the road being cleared. Mlolongo area was a paradox compared to the chain of protests witnessed in the past 2 weeks in the country. Protesters here blocked the Nairobi Expressway with stones, stretching from the distance between the Mlolongo entrance and near City Cabanas area.
Vitu zimepanda juu. Tunaomba Bwana Ruto shukisha vitu ama ushuke sakayo.
In order to pass through here, one was required to pay at least 100 shillings for a tree branch to mark them as being in solidarity with protesters. Despite this, police officers did not use force against protesters, allowing them to continue on. At some point, criminal elements began looting from shops just a short distance away from where a few police officers were. That too was not acted upon.
Now, on a typical day, cars will not be able to stop here, let alone people, at the Mlolongo Expressway entrance. However, today, on the day of the protests, tens of dozens are actually gathered here protesting for the rights they say the government infringed on. Gina Kiori, NTV, Mlolongo.